if I can ask that we, as soon as the music starts louder, we can all rise and then the procession will come through. Thank you very much and enjoy the day.
Good morning. I'm just waiting for the few that are still working in to be seated so that we can start. All right. Once again, a very good morning to everyone. Thank you so much for taking your time to be here with us at the Namibia University of Science and Technology. A warm welcome also to those that are joining us online. I'm Colin Stanley, the Acting Deputy Vice Chancellor for Research, Innovation and Partnerships. At NAST, I'll be your Director of Proceedings at this auspicious event of Professorial Inauguration Lectures. A special greeting to our Vice Chancellor, Dr. Errol Naumann, our keynote speaker, Mr. Otto Shikongo, the Chief Executive Officer of DebMarie Namibia, and Professor John Ralston, Emeritus Professor from the University of South Australia. NAST members of council, if present here, NAST Executive Management ESCO present, Dr. Andrew Nikonto, DVC for Teaching, Learning and Technology, Ms. Miriam Tekua, Deputy Vice Chancellor for Finance and Operations, the Registrar, Professor Francis Sifiso Nyati, all executive deans, Professor Percy Shimwawarumba, chairperson of the Professorial Selection and Promotion Committee, all NAS, all renowned professors, especially the 8 that brought us here today to listen to their inaugural lectures, staff and students, distinguished guests, members of the media, all protocols duly observed. This is indeed our 3rd day of our institutional research week. We started with day 1 on Tuesday, where we focus on green hydrogen, its future and challenges for and opportunities for Namibia. Day 2, which was yesterday, focused on technology, innovation, and social progression. So far, we had total number of technical talks of 36. We had 18 per day. Now, this year's Institutional Research Week is embedded in the overarching NAST theme for 2022, which is coined Revitalizing Social Contract in STEM Education, STI Stewardship. Now, we know what is STEM education: science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and STI, science, technology, and innovation stewardship. Now, Institutional Research Week is a great opportunity that allow our researchers to share their work that they have done to the Namibian nation. Today, we are here to learn for our appointed or promoted professors who has been on their, has worked over the years very hard to do their work, and also they will share their future work. Finally, we will also get to know the best performing researchers for this year. Now, with those preamble, it is now also my distinct honor to welcome or to invite our Vice Chancellor, Dr. Errol Nauma, to the podium to welcome us and open the proceedings officially. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Director of Ceremonies, Dr. Colin Stanley, the Acting Deputy Vice Chancellor of Research, Innovation and Partnerships. May I, ladies and gentlemen, at this moment, set and observe the protocol as received. Mr. Otto Shikongo, Chief Executive Officer, DebMarine Namibia. Professor John Ralston, Emeritus Laureate Professor, University of South Australia. The rest of the protocol as observed. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm pleased to welcome you to this auspicious event of the Professorial Inaugural Lectures. This is a milestone occasion for the university, and more especially for the faculties, the following 2 faculties: Faculty of Engineering and the Built Environment. Where is Professor Harmony? You always correct me if I forget the Built Environment. The Faculty of Health, Natural Resources, Applied Sciences, and of course the professors themselves. The professors themselves, I see there is a problem. We have only gentlemen there, but I'm happy. Next time we will see a much fair gender distribution. Professors. The candidates being honored today are from the two faculties that I have now highlighted. Director of Ceremonies. Perhaps it would be ideal for me to start by providing a bit of context to this occasion. Firstly, an inaugural lecturer is an occasion for the university to give recognition to professors who have either been appointed or promoted to this rank. It is also a unique opportunity to officially introduce professors to the campus community and the general public, further providing an opportunity for engagement with the greater community and the broader array of stakeholders. Professors provide academic leadership, and I emphasize on academic leadership, primarily through demonstrating and fostering excellence in research, teaching, professional activities, and policy development at various levels. These public lectures we will witness today aim to celebrate the conferment of the title of professorship for outstanding research, innovation, teaching, and professional practices. Now, the title professorship is a full professorship. It's not partial. There's nothing else to add or delete. It is full bench of professorship. We also envisage that ceremonies of this nature make a vital contribution to providing a public forum for leading research and enhancing our statutory role as a fountain of knowledge and our conscience for our society. Professorial recognition is made across all disciplinary boundaries following a rigorous internal and external peer review and evaluation. Within NAST, we have a policy that sets out well-established process that guides the appointment and conferment of full professorship roles. The conferment of professorships across all faculties within the university are made in strict accordance with this policy. Ladies and gentlemen, as a university, we serve public good and public interest through provision of sustainable solutions to the challenges the society encounters. As a university, we strive to provide an environment for academic freedom, academic autonomy, and excellence, whilst upholding in tandem the values of academic integrity and ethical conduct. NAST is appropriately set up to attract and retain top academic talent. Indeed, our professors continues to play a critical role in shaping our university. They have reached the pinnacle of academic excellence by striving for the best. Now, allow me to congratulate the following. And if I call out your name, if you could just rise for a moment and face the audience as well, just briefly bow your head. Professor Godfrey Sinomwa. Let us give him a round of applause. Professor James Katende. Professor Hannes van der Wald. Professor Samuel John. Professor Victor Kamara. Professor Benjamin Mapani. Professor Habokwa Kwamba. Professor Rakesh Kumar. Professor Erod. Now, oh, I'm sorry, that's not. I almost abused my opportunity here. Now, colleagues, these are academics of exceptional standing, you would agree with me, that have contributed to the current state of the university through teaching, research, community development, and industry engagement. Having made significant efforts to add tangible contributions to the realization of the faculty's vision and the development aspirations of the Namibian nation, our expectation as a university is that you would continue to step up your noble efforts for the greater good for the Namibian nation and the world at large. I'm also pleased to highlight that this is the second cohort of professors that are being inaugurated at the university. The first ceremonies took place in 2018, with the representation across all faculties, nationalities, and genders, representative of the diverse community that we are at NAST. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow academics, engineering, natural resources, and health are essential disciplines in the development of mankind, playing a pivotal role in the history and advancement of technology across the different stages of human development. We now find ourselves in the fourth industrial revolution. Similarly, the first industrial revolution was a period of rapid economic growth, sufficient to induce fundamental changes in the economy and the structure of our societies, marking a distinguished turning point in human history. In a similar pattern, humanity finds itself on the brink of incredible transformation, bringing fundamental changes in the economy and structure of our society. Neurotechnology, precision medicine, digital twins. Now, the first time I heard about digital twins, I wonder, how did twins become digital? I always thought twins were naturally born. But nonetheless, it's a major shift in the way we think about our environment. Blockchain technology applications on the Internet of Value, artificial intelligence of things, applications in robotics, machine learning are some of the transformational concepts that reshapes every aspect of our lives. These technologies have already been adopted in banking, mining, logistics, and education, and their adoption across multiple industries continues to expand rapidly. The question is, are we ready for this change as a university? And even more importantly, are we ready for this change as a country? Also, are we correctly positioning ourselves as an institution to exploit these technologies and gain a competitive advantage over our regional peers and beyond? Allow me to again welcome you to this momentous occasion, and I wish to conclude by outlining a few points. To maintain continuity in the university, senior academics and professors need to build a mentorship culture. The journey to academic excellence requires guidance. Therefore, junior academics require guidance, and this is a natural expectation that the university holds for professors. I'm going to pause here and reflect on my own history. I see amongst the professors being honored this morning, some of them who've been my mentors from first year, second year. See my chemistry, biology professors being honored today. And I'm proud to stand here to say that indeed, academic mentorship does add absolute value. Let us give them a round of applause again. I'm also going to pause a little bit and reflect on recent discussions that we had at EXCO level and at council level. Our recognition is that a higher education institution must be big around human capital. Now, having recognized this, we've set out few changes to our HR policy. One, we recognize the right of every staff member to have access to further education. In the past, if you were a staff member of this university, you could only enroll for a program at NAST. But here is the thing. You could only do so if you were under 23 years old. And you could also do so only for an undergraduate program. Why? It seems to be exclusive. Now, what we have decided as university and council is that if you are a staff member at this university, you are entitled to enroll for any program, irrespective of your age. Also, this is new. Ms. Dukua is smiling. This is very new. If you want to, as a staff member, you and your immediate family, is it spouse and your family, can also study absolutely for free for any program. It's also new because we are focusing on building the Namibian human capital. We cannot waver. The other aspect is, if you are a staff member, you want to study, you may do so also for any program at any level, undergraduate, PhD, postdoc, at either NAST or UNAM, and you'll do so for free. Thank you, thank you. This is but some of the ways that we are saying that it is time that we induce a maximum inflection point, becoming disruptive to build the next generation of scientists, researchers, and we take that aspect absolutely seriously. I thought that I would mention this because the professors will now have a lot of candidates coming to them for mentorship. Ladies and gentlemen, secondly, perhaps even more important, is establishing good relationships with our stakeholders. The need for building sound and symbiotic relationships with all our stakeholders cannot be overemphasized. Again, we expect our professors to assume a leading role through consistent engagement that attracts funding activities, particularly amidst these challenging times of dwindling government resources. The financing must deliver value for the industry and maintain the integrity of our university. Finally, as a university, we must maintain a relevant and responsive curriculum. The demands of our stakeholders have become a fast-moving target, and we must keep up pace. Again, As the torch bearers in their various areas of expertise, we expect our professors to play a significant role in ensuring that the content we deliver to our students remain relevant and the attributes we inculcate in our graduates give them an advantage in an increasingly competitive environment. I wish to remind our professors that while it has been a long and winding journey to reach this point, the destination has not yet been reached. The NAS community will continuously turn to you for diligence, commitment, and guidance. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Harold Naumap, our Vice Chancellor. It was very clear. I think what really highlight from his speech is the social contract that we are talking about. And that is really what we are seeing here. So please give him a round of applause. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please also allow me to share with you an abridged bio of Mr. Otto Shikongo before we listen to his keynote speech. Mr. Otto Shikongo is a registered professional engineer with a master's degree in mechanical engineering from the University of Southampton in the UK, United Kingdom. Mr. Shikongo obtained a South African Mechanical Engineer Certificate of Competency. He completed a Senior Management Development Program of the University of Stellenbosch School and an Executive Development Program of Maastricht and a Senior Executive Program of the London Business School. Mr. Otto Shikongo has held engineering and management positions at NAMDEP, Namibia, and DEP Botswana, that's Botswana, before moving to DEP Marine Namibia as operations manager. Currently, he is the Chief Executive Officer of DEP Marine Namibia. Now, his business acumen, which is the ability to make sound decisions and quick decisions, has steered the company through many notable achievements over the past decade. One fact that some of you might not know is that DEP Marine Namibia is the world's largest marine diamond mining company. It is also noteworthy to note through his thought leadership at DEP Marine Namibia, many Namibians are now internationally accredited vessel captains. And last week, we all enjoyed very good sport, African Stars versus UNAM FC. And that was because of DEP Marine Namibia. So one fun fact that you also might not know about him, he's well known to be a very careful driver. And I've noticed when he was driving here on campus, avoiding all the taxis around our campus. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor to welcome Mr. Otto Shikongo to the podium.
Thank you, Director of Ceremonies. Allow me to stand by the protocols already established by Dr. Colin Stanley. I start off by greeting, good morning, everyone. Let me, in the first instance, express my appreciation to Dr. Harold Naumap, Vice Chancellor of the Namibia University of Science and Technology, for his generous invitation for me to address you this morning at this auspicious occasion. I must just put in a bit of correction in terms of the introductory remarks by Dr. Stanley. I am actually an outgoing CEO of DEP Marine Namibia. I will be stepping down at the end of the year. and the process, or rather the new CEO, has already started on the 1st of November. And I'm only hand holding and guiding the transitional process. Yes, many of you indeed have seen in the media, I recently retired from my role as CEO of Deb Marine Namibia, following over 34 years of work with the De Beers group of companies, as you heard, including Namibia, Botswana, South Africa, and those three. Since I started my handover process to my successor, I have been hastily passing to him all invitations to functions, speaking engagements, and other ad hoc requests that come with occupying that office. Excuse me. However, this invitation from NAST is the one that I kept to myself. Given the honor and privilege I attach to addressing this auspicious occasion. When I reflect on my own life journey as it relates to education, I consider myself fairly fortunate. From an early point in my life, the value of education was always pretty obvious to me. I must admit, for some reasons, my parents, my grandparents, where I grew up, and my teachers did not need to motivate me much. I was particularly curious about science and its immense transformational value to the development of human society. I always considered that science, the intellectual and practical systematic study of the structure and behavior of physical and natural world through observation and experience, would be the answer to finding solutions to almost all of the world's challenges. This includes energy, transportation, housing, sanitation, food and water shortages, etc. I still firmly believe that the answer to many of these challenges will come from science. In turn, it leads to economic development, and I'm sure we all know what that means. I mention all of this because I cannot emphasize enough the value I personally attach to education, particularly science education. Education is the single biggest transformational investment that any human being can make in themselves. That is why we members of the society are indebted to you for your chosen career to educate our nation. As we continue to make strides to find solution to the spectrum of challenges faced by our country and indeed the globe. A few years ago, a study done by one of the big four global accounting and auditing firms found that globally, people's trust in governments was diminishing rapidly. The study sought to understand, given the increasing gap of trust deficit between people and their governments around the world, what will be the body or institution that people will believe with credibility? I'm not sure how many of you saw that study, but surprisingly, the answer was not churches, it was not United Nations, It was not the Red Cross. No, the study revealed that people believed in what reputable academic institutions said on any matter. I have no doubt that the findings of that study would be applicable in Namibia, and therefore it holds strong value proposition for an institution like us. Your institution must be leveraging that value proposition, as well as the name of your institution, University of Science and Technology. Which brings me to a question I have this morning. When I say the name Dep Marine Namibia, and I ask, what is it? Some of you may say it's a mining company. Some of you may say it's a marine company, etc. It is all of those, yes, but also Dep Marine Namibia is the world's leading marine diamond recovery and technology company. And I emphasize the word technology. When I joined Dep Marine Namibia in 2001, it was a tiny business. From humble beginnings, operating 3 mining vessels and 1 sampling vessel out of Cape Town. In actual fact, my first assignment, when I was moved from Oraniemont as an engineering manager, was for me to move to Cape Town and migrate the company from Cape Town to Namibia. Under the leadership of our founding president, it was thought that the Namibian resource need to be exploited, or rather mined by the Namibian company based in Namibia. As I bid farewell to Dep Marine Namibia at the end of this year, this company is now on the cusp of producing 2 million carats a year. That is a record diamond production from one source in the history of Namibia. The mining fleet has increased to 8 vessels, including 1 chartered vessel. The mining rate has improved 5-fold. The annual revenue exceeds 10 billion Namibian dollars. Excluding SACCO revenue, it is consistently the highest revenue contributor to the Namibian fiscus in terms of royalties, tax, and dividends, and by a significant distance. For 2022, the forecast is 4.8 billion Namibia contribution, Namibian dollars. It yields the most profitable returns to government. It is a JV, as I mentioned before, government holds 50% and the DBS holds 50%. How was this achieved? The answer: research, technology, and innovation. In fact, I would say that if we did not invest in research and innovation over the years, Dep Marine Namibia would have been out of business as we speak today. And I know that for a fact. And as a matter of fact, if Dep Marine Namibia stops investing in technology and innovation today, my estimate is within 5 to 7 years, the company will be out of business. Over the years, the catalysts for our advancement have been in 4 areas, or rather 5 areas. Mining rate improvements, that is square meters covered per hour. The geosurvey technology, that is for mapping and understanding the resource in order to create targets for sampling and resource development. Sampling rate improvements, that is the speed at which one produces the resource for feeding the production vessels. Operational efficiencies, to manage cost and do better. And operational efficiencies, or rather capacity increase. The MV Mafuta that we acquired in 2011, the MV SS Nuyoma that we acquired in 2017, and recently the Benguela gem, all came with advanced technologies. But perhaps I must first give you the context. We are operating in the Atlantic Ocean at a water depth of between 120 and 140 meters. The tools are at the seabed, the engagement with a seabed with a tool. Two technologies, one is a crawler, what we call the horizontal mining. The other one is a drill ship, which is a vertical mining. They are all remotely controlled. You do not see the resource, you cannot touch it. If you miss it, you have to buy for good, unless you come back, but it will be extra cost. On top of that, the Atlantic Ocean is not forgiving. You can get waves up to 9 meters. You can get wind speeds, which are unforgiving. Mining rate improvements, we did through tools development. Now, at the onset, when I started, the crawler technology, we were covering 180 square meters per hour. As I speak, we are at 2,000 squares per hour. And with the drill vessels technology, we were at 80 squares per hour. Now we are at over 400 square meters per hour. The grade, naturally, any mine declines over time. And the only way to keep up with the declining grade is to increase the mining rate. Hence, I'm saying if we did not do that, we would have been out of business. The geosurvey technology improvement, this is in the area of high resolution and 3D seabed mapping to improve targeting. Sampling rate improvements, we gone to dynamic positioning where the vessel can hold station without being on mooring wires and being able to sample. And sampling tool redesign, we were at 17 samples per day in 2001. We are now over 50 samples per day. Operational efficiencies, more efficient, such as pre-moves, automated vessel positioning, automated diamond sorting, and the sense of mining. So research and innovation is in any science-based industry or business is not an option, but a business continuity imperative. At the heart of research and innovation is productivity improvements. If you don't continuously seek to improve productivity, you are a business on a rapid decline or slow death. In the broader Anglo-American group, of which Debmarine Namibia is a JV business unit, the buzzword is future smart mining. How to combine innovation, technology, and digitalization to create future mines that are less negatively impactful on society and the planet, while improving productivity and benefits for the society. I can't predict the future, but for example, the vessels we operate in Atlantic 1 are manned by between 50 and 60 people per shift. We got a rotating shift, the other 60 are at home, the other 60 or 50 are operating the vessel. is it possible that the technology of the future will enable Deb Marine Namibia to reduce those people to a mere legal minimum manning level? The rest of the people may be in Windhoek, using computer-based tools to operating the mining and processing systems. Is it possible that in the future, the entire vessel operations will be controlled from a small office in Windhoek? Well, in fact, as I speak, that is work in progress. Ladies and gentlemen, I must admit that when I saw the proposed topic for my address this morning, I was somewhat a little cynical. I was asked to highlight the value of research and innovation in the business sector. I wondered myself, who needs to be reminded of the value of research and innovation to business success? Surely, no one needs to be reminded. I hope, though, what I achieved this morning was to demonstrate a practical example of the journey of Deb Marine Namibia to illustrate the immense value power that is in research and innovation. Director of Ceremonies, I warm-heartedly convey my well wishes to the NAST community and to all those who received the accolades this morning. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chikongo. Another round of applause, please. So we don't have to dilute his speech. It was clear that you have to, you must. It's not a need. It's a survival to invest in research, innovation, and technology in the era that we are in. Thank you so much for that. We proceed with our program. And now also at this point, ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to share with you in an abridged bio of Professor John Ralston before we listen to his pre-recorded keynote speech. Professor Ralston is a physical and colloid chemist of complementary training in metallurgy, whose research interests embrace various aspects of interfacial science and engineering. In particular, he asked how bubbles and particles interact, and why and how fast surfaces, wet and wire particles stick together. Professor Ralston has been awarded over 200 million US dollars in competitive grant funding from the Australian Research Council, national and international granting agencies and private industry. He actively supervised 85 PhD research students. These students have established careers in universities, industry, and other research institutions worldwide. He has numerous lifetime achievement awards. I had to count, there were over 30 of them, including the Australian Academy of Technology, Sciences, and Engineering Clunas Ross Award. Professor Ralston is the author of over 350 referred or referenced journal articles, textbooks, chapters, and numerous conference papers and industry reports. So we are listening to a renowned professor in his domain. So we hope the recording.
It's a great delight to be here today. It's a great delight to be here today. I'm sorry that I can't be here in physical form, so you'll have to put up with me talking on a screen. But it was a delight and a surprise to be invited by your executive dean, Professor Harmony Musa Urira, to speak at this inauguration ceremony at NUST. I must give you a little history if I can. I formally retired as director of the IMWalk Research Institute at the University of South Australia. The WARC was an ARC special research centre dealing with particle and material interfaces. And at the behest of my wife, we'd escaped to London, living in central London for a period of 9 months. And towards the end of 2012, a letter arrived from Africa. And the letter was signed by Harmony, and it was with the great support of the then rector, Professor Shivikwa. And it asked me if I would come to Namibia and provide some support for what was the Polytechnic of Namibia transforming to NUST over a period of years. So Namibia is very close to my heart. I have some wonderful friends there, and I very much appreciate the country, the people, and the outstanding institution that NUST has become and will become in the future. So that letter from Africa was a real turning point. And I arrived at NUST in 2013. At that stage, of course, it was the Polytechnic of Namibia and referred to far and wide across the country as the Poly. And it was with a lot of effort, both educational, emotional, and political, that the institution became NUST, the Namibian University of Science and Technology. And so during that period, my emphasis was twofold. Number one, to help the university as a body, and number two, and perhaps the most important, was to build up the Department of Mining and Metallurgy and Mineral Processing into something that is really quite exceptional. And in doing so, and in working across the university, I got to know a lot of people. And it was a great delight today to see the list of your inaugural professors. And so Godfrey, Hannes, Samuel, Victor, Benjamin, and Abuka are all people that I know well and have spent time with and laughed with when in Namibia. So with the other gentlemen, who I don't know as well, I'm sure that cohort of inaugural professors will be an enormous engine to drive the university forward. I think that the university, as it is now, is part of an international body. The universities are truly international, and that means that their remit, their scope, the research that they do, the students that they employ, I should say the students that are employed after they graduate, will go to work inside and outside Namibia and be your advocates all around the world. And so the quality of your undergraduate education and your postgraduate education is absolutely paramount. And so that will be reflected in your staff. And I'm extremely pleased to see that your cohort of inauguration, your professors who will be inaugurated today, all have in different shapes or forms the international experience, which I think is a sine qua non for appointment as a professor. So congratulations to you all. I think that I can't stress more heavily that the function of a university is to be heavily engaged with its community. NUST has a genuine responsibility to engage with the community at all levels, from primary schools to the most sophisticated levels of industry and government right across the country. And you're doing that. And I've had great joy and camaraderie in traveling the length and breadth of your country in company with people from NUST, generally by SUV and four-wheel drive. And so that's been particularly interesting. So the coast, the hinterland, north, south, east and west. And so although I can't be with you today, I want you to understand that my very best wishes are with you all. I think that you work in a splendid institution. You have a new Vice Chancellor, Dr. Errol Naumab, and I understand that he's doing a wonderful job in directing this fine institution, and I'm sure will do so for many years to come. So from Melbourne, Australia, which is where I'm now located, may I give you all my very best wishes for a most successful professorial inauguration ceremony. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much. That was indeed enlightening. I think we can give another round of applause. Now, I think we can relax a bit and sit upright, and please take out your notes. Make sure you are, you sometimes hear someone saying, please don't lecture me, but today you are going to be lectured. That's why you came here. And I know because you really want to get the knowledge that we are all for. Now, I have to call on Professor Fungai Bunashava, the Acting Executive Dean of the Faculty of Computing and Informatics, to introduce the candidates from the Faculty of Engineering and the Built Environment on behalf of Professor Harmony Musiarira. And also to be very brief so that we can catch up of time, the professors, please we are very strict on time. Please let us stick to the 15 minutes and so that we can take 2 questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Master of Ceremony, Mr. Vice Chancellor Sir, our distinguished invited guests, family members, to our auspicious professors, esteemed colleagues, our executive committee, and our speakers here present and online. I have the distinct honor to present to you the professorial candidates from the Faculty of Engineering and Built Environment. So I'll start by introducing the first candidate, and our first candidate is Professor Godfrey Zinonwa. He's a father of 2 handsome sons, that's what he tells me, and he's married to Chipo Victoria, who is his anchor of support. I hope they are in the house to celebrate this day. If not, we still acknowledge you for the great work that you've done in supporting him. Dr. Professor Godfrey holds a Bachelor Honors in Engineering degree in Metallurgy from the University of Zimbabwe. He has a PhD in Mineral Processes from the University of Queensland in Australia, and a postgraduate certificate in Development Economics from the Renmin University of China, as well as various leadership courses. He has spent over 3 decades in the mineral industry, focusing on production operations, research, consultants, and academia. In the corporate world, he rose through the ranks from engineering through senior management roles to chief executive officer, where he served at the Wange Colliery mine in Zimbabwe, as well as Zinkem refineries. He has also served as an executive manager for BHP Minerals, as well as BCL Nickel and Copper. He has served in international organizations in Joburg, in London, as well as Zimbabwe. In academia, Professor Zinonwa has lectured and led research at the University of Zimbabwe and was the founding head in the mining engineering department at the then Polytechnic of Namibia, which he joined on a full-time basis from 2009 until 2011. Then he came back on a part-time basis in between until 2018. In 2019, the university re-employed him in the same department, and he has served until he rose to his professorial position, which we're celebrating today. He is the founding council member for the Gwanda State University, and over the years, he has supervised and examined several theses, and out of those, we have 4 PhD outputs, 6 masters, and over 20 honor students. His research interests are mainly in mineral beneficiation, witnessed by his engagement with the industry partners across the nation, and he has over 50 peer-reviewed journal and conference publications, as well as more than 60 technical reports for industry and other national and international organizations. Professor Zinonwa has carried out successful projects sponsored by various professional stakeholders, including industry, government, and unions such as the African Union, African Development Bank, International Labour Organization, and the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, plus the World Bank. He is a member of the Rotary Club, is one of his community passions. He is a registered professional with the Zimbabwe Institute of Engineers, a member of the Southern African Institute Mining and Metallurgy SIME, as well as the International Society of Mining Professionals. Colleagues, I present to you Professor Godfrey Zinonwa.
Thank you very much, Professor Bunusha, for that very generous introduction and quite some research on my history, which you did without much of my knowledge, but I must say that all of it is true. The Vice Chancellor of NAST and the NAST leadership, invited guests, colleagues, and I see the CEO of the Chamber of Mines. We always regard ourselves as belonging to the mining industry. Ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. It is my pleasure this morning to share with you my contribution to mineral beneficiation and the value addition in the 21st century. Yes, my discussion this morning will have an introduction and background. And we'll discuss mineral beneficiation and further value addition, and also highlight the gap. Why do we want to research on it? And then we'll look at some strategies and implementation that have happened or that I've participated in. And then we also want to look at research to improve mineral beneficiation at the plant and laboratory level. I'll focus on comminution and deliberation and also flotation. Then ongoing research. We'll look at ongoing research. In the area of dense medium separation, I think we have heard Mr. Chikongo about diamonds. And this is an area that applies and all the other minerals which are separated based on density. And we also look at flotation again and smelting, because this is ongoing research. This is a very important process for sulfide minerals. And we have quite in this country. And then we also want to look at green hydrogen applications in the mineral industry. Mineral beneficiation, why is it important? We realize that most minerals in Africa or from Africa are sold as unprocessed raw materials or semi-processed raw materials, which don't fetch as much income as the finished goods. So there is, one would say, we are leaving money on the table if you were negotiating. So it is important to maximize the beneficiation of minerals, not only in Africa, but more so in Africa because we are not as advanced as the others. It may not be as applicable in South Africa as it is to the rest of Africa. So the goal is to maximize mineral beneficiation, and according to the Africa We Want Agenda 2063, it is emphasized. According to SADC Industrialization and Roadmap 2015 to 2063, it is also emphasized. And I happen to be fortunate enough to author the policy brief on the mining sector and prospects for beneficiation in the preparation of that document. And we also know that this is highlighted in the national development plans of the countries that I'm going to focus on. In this particular case, I'm going to focus on Namibia, Zimbabwe, and to some extent, Botswana. And surprisingly, the contribution of the mining industry in two of those countries is about 10% of the gross domestic product, and about 50% of the export proceeds. And those countries are Namibia and Zimbabwe. The minerals we are looking at in SADC, the growth minerals, it's a wide variety. And obviously there is diamonds in Botswana, nickel, copper, gold. And then we also have in Namibia uranium, diamonds, among others, in lithium. And then in Zimbabwe, we have the platinum group metals, lithium, nickel, copper, chrome. And I have highlighted the coal in red because of climate change concerns. Of course, those countries are depending on that revenue, but there's got to be further consideration. I'm looking at, let's start looking at a study that I participated in as the lead researcher, which we conducted in Zimbabwe. This was a study that was looking at informing the development of a mineral beneficiation strategy for the country. And this was done in this was completed in 2017. Its method was qualitative in terms of looking at the information around, and then quantitative in terms of visiting and interviewing producers, benchmarking with other countries, and also workshopping and interviewing stakeholders. If you look at Zimbabwe, you will see that it is endowed with a variety of minerals, and the Great Dike, which is a 550-kilometer geological feature and 11 kilometers wide, is rich in platinum group minerals and also in chrome. And the green areas are rich in gold. Then the brown areas are rich in coal. And then we have all the other minerals like lithium and gemstones. When you look at the findings, when we were looking at it, we looked at the platinum group metal value chain, starting from the exploration, mining, concentration, smelt, refining, base metal refining to remove the nickel, copper, and cobalt, and then precious metals, which would separate copper, and then the platinum group metals, 6 of them. And as you can see from this one, the resource you are looking at about nine metals, 9 products, which must be separated very efficiently so that they can be utilized. However, there is a gap. In Zimbabwe, most of the operations are stopping at smelting and converting. There are 3 operators actually. There is Unki, which is operated by Anglo-American. There is Mimosa, which is operated by Impala, and those are the major shareholders in Sabanye Gold. And then there is, which is operated by Impala. And I happened to work at Zimplats at some stage. At that time, it was BHP Minerals. So our findings and recommendations were to promote further value addition, given the limitations that are to increase that value addition, and then to invest in support infrastructure, as well as to create government policy which was conducive to research and development and promote skills. The strategy itself, we did not develop it ourselves. The government took over after the taking on from the study, and the Ministry of Mines and Mining Development developed that strategy, and they based it on increasing the mineral sector from an industry worth 3 billion, which was at that time very similar to Namibia for some reason, to an industry worth 12.3 billion. And then some progress since then has been made, and they had achieved revenue of about US 5.7 billion by 2021. But it looks to me like the target of 12 billion is a stretch given the COVID interruptions and also other factors. And one PGM producer has commissioned a smelter that didn't have a smelter before. So we hope and we believe that they are progressing. And then coming on to Namibia, the Department of Mining and Process Engineering at that time was commissioned to develop a mineral beneficiation strategy for Namibia. And I was the lead researcher, and the project manager was the then head of department, Professor Musiarira. And it was a multidisciplinary team composed, which consisted of people also from researchers, also from the economics department. It was commissioned by the government. And as we know, the wealth of Namibia, coming from the north, you start with copper at Tsumeb, and then you come to Uchikoto gold, and you come, and then around that area also have Orongo cement, and then coming on to going to, when you go around Caribbean, you've got gold there and dimension stone. Going to into the Orongo region, you have got the uranium companies. And further south, you have got Roshpina zinc and Scorpion zinc. And then Ludaris area, and there you have got the diamonds. And when you go into the ocean, then you meet Mr. Shikongo in the diamond area. The strategy that was developed at 3 stages, and it was monitored and by the Joint Value Addition Committee, which Mr. The CEO of Mr. is a member of. It was developed in three levels: the overarching strategy, the combined strategies, that is combined minerals like base minerals diamonds and precious stones, and then individual strategies for the individual minerals, and including silica, which I'll just mention briefly later. And 6 intervention areas were identified in that strategy, and which included, of course, skills development, research and development, once again. The strategy itself recognized what you see in green is what is already existing. What is in orange is what is not yet available and which needs to be improved on or increased or introduced so that you can have all and finished products and realize this the goal. It was also recognized that there was a need to develop an implementation plan. And so we went ahead and developed an implementation plan with the different stages and with pilot minerals. And the pilot mineral I'm showing at the moment is zinc. It was considered that zinc was one of those minerals that Namibia was good at and had in abundance. And it is important to develop that strategy and develop finished products, galvanized products. We also looked at a foundry. This is a value addition industry, which is not yet in Namibia at the moment, but is being developed. And we have the roadmap that we would like to implement it. And earlier I talked about silica. We are already in the process of implementing to some extent because we are doing a feasibility study on the establishment of glass manufacturing industry in Namibia. And tomorrow we have a workshop to feedback to stakeholders on it. Then I move on to plant and laboratory studies, focusing on flotation, as I said. And there is a flotation plant. In this process, coming on from the mine, the primary stockpiles and concentrator, the stockpile and the smelter, what we want to do at the most is to minimize the metal that is lost to tailings in the concentrator. We want to minimize the metal that is lost to slag in the smelter. And we want to minimize dust losses in the smelter as well. In other words, we want to maximize the metal, which is the product which goes for further refining and value addition. The flotation process, always want to optimize the reagents, to optimize the particle liberation and residence time, bubble size and aeration. And the product that you get is a powder like the one you see here, which is concentrated. Starting with the mine, you were, let's say if it was copper, you were around 3% copper. And then by the time you are at that stockpile, you're around 30%. And then by the time you come out of the smelter, you're about 98% copper. And then the refinery, you're about 99%. Some work that I did in the not on in the laboratories, but on the plants. On a plant in Botswana, various interventions were introduced over the years, depending on in response to declining copper recoveries, which were caused by various items. And that did improve to some extent and was on the increase. And I was fortunate to be there around in this area here. I joined 2026 and introduced some optimization measures out of research. And you saw that there was some notable improvement. And I want to move to the work that we are doing in Namibia. We are optimizing an ore body, which has got oxide, a transition, and sulfide ore. And we've done some work, and we continue to do some work to optimize that. The problem usually is the transition ore, which methods are not yet fully developed, and we are working on that. And we're optimizing the liberation and We have also worked on the recovery of metal from slag, refractory bricks, and also from tailings. We're using that method in general. And we are modeling that ore body. We've done a bit of, we've done some publications, and we continue to work on that. Then going to ongoing research, we would like to work on the dense medium separation improvement, and we would like to improve recovery using radio frequency identifiable traces, and would like to do some work on green hydrogen applications, particularly the oxidation, the reduction of oxide minerals, and then the production of ammonia and ammonium nitrate for fertilizers and mining explosives. And then on sustainability, we've been recognized by Elsevier for publications in on sustainable topics. And I would like to thank you. I would like to thank NAST management, again, workmates, past and present, friends, family, especially my children and my wife. And then you, if you are not part of the top list. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Prof. I think we have taken notes. We will allow 2 questions, but just few announcements. We will take a break earlier after these questions. We have our delegations also having other important events to attend to. Our guests also have to leave a bit earlier, and also our Vice Chancellor. But now we open up for our 2 questions for Prof to engage with the audience. Thank you so much. And then just also announcement, we'll take a group photo now during break. Thank you.
Interesting speech. I think I can speak loud enough. Thanks for that presentation. That was highly interesting. My only comment would be that if I look at all the minerals and assets Namibia has, then every Namibian should actually be quite wealthy.
Yeah. Yeah. And that includes me. Next question.
Prof, thank you for the good presentation. Congratulations. I'm just filling up the space of the vacuum that has been created because there are no questions.
There's another one.
Oh, okay, then.
Thank you, Prof. Your presentation gave us a track record of what you have done on research and innovation. My question is, from your experience, should we do research and innovation concurrently or sequentially? And what happens when there's a gap between research and innovation of the same research?
Yeah. Thank you very much for your question. I think that question is what motivated me to take the career that I took. because people always asked me, why don't you make up your mind? In other words, why did you take an industry career and then double with the academic career? Is to bridge those, because I believe the two complement each other. I always found that if I remained in industry, there was always something that I wanted to know about, and sometimes I wanted to investigate it by myself. And then when I'm in industry, when I'm in the academia, I always see that I cannot rely on the test work in the laboratory and the like. I also want to see how it applies in industry. So in a way, I believe the two must be done together. Prof. Here.
Thank you. Congratulations, Prof. Sinomo. I think mine is to add to what you have responded. When it comes to innovation, concurrent and sequential are very critical. Nowadays, we have what we call simultaneous coupling, which then address so that then the sequential is taken care of when it's needed and also concurrently when it's needed. So we use the new model, which is simultaneous coupling, and I'm sure that adds value, innovation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof, for the presentation, and congratulations.
Thank you.
This is perhaps the only time I have an opportunity to publicly grill my senior academic. I'm just joking. Prof, I was very keen in terms of your prospects with regards to the foundry industry, and that you've highlighted that you have some feedback to the stakeholders. I'm keen because there is a global movement that talks about the PDX projects, Power to Technology X, which is power, renewable energy, with either form of hydrogen or any other source. To what extent do you think that Namibia is now better positioned to have the foundry industry as the X in the equation? Are we close? Are we far?
Sorry, which industry, Prof?
The foundry. The
foundry.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I think we are fairly close in terms of the foundry industry, driven mainly by the demand, because there's so much that we are importing, especially in the mining industry. Most of the components, some of which are consumables, especially the milling bowls, the mill liners, and the like. They're being imported at a huge cost. And then we are exporting scrap metal at a very low price. Yet we can upgrade the value by making that feed to foundry and then substituting imports. And I'm pleased that the Chamber of Mines is also in the forefront of that. They happen to be pushing on many fronts, including working on the green hydrogen that we are also working. We would like to consider that as a source of energy as well. Yeah, thank you.
I think at this point, unless someone wants to know what is foundry, it's a simple in layman's term. I know some of my colleagues are still wondering.
Okay. The foundry is a plant that smells scrap metal and also with the addition of some fresh iron and steel to remanufacture and cast new products. So you are recycling in a way. And we are recycling quite a lot in Namibia. So if we were to introduce the foundry industry, we will be contributing to cleaning the environment and to economic development, as well as social development. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We can now take our break. I think we now understand what was being discussed, and we know what is foundry. When you see those scrap cars on the way to your north, you contact Prof, you will know what to do with them. So let's take a break, and we'll take a group photo first of all the high table delegations. Thank you so much. We need to 10 o'clock to come back. Thank you.